can do it. Only God can do it. Only God can do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Love and Action Deconstruction Junction podcast. I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable. You're always going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your days. And how we relate today in the present moment to our loved and lovable qualities. The qualities of our hearts, the qualities of our minds, qualities of our energetics, the qualities of our environment, the qualities of our emotions. How we relate to those qualities will determine how we will go out into the world, how we are received, and also how we take in the information of life. And we're going to talk a lot today about the information of life. There's a lot of stuff happening in the news, a lot of things happening in our home lives, lots of internal and external challenges, lots of suffering, as the Buddha would say, and how we choose to move through that collective suffering to have our own personal joy revolution that spills out into the streets in a world that needs more hope and more love is of critical importance. And once again, I want to invite y'all to settle in with us for the next hour or so as we tape this podcast that's going to be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Substack and beyond, if I haven't said those platforms already, and also available on YouTube and Facebook. You got to believe in yourself. We haven't done this in a while, and it's my introduction. There are 3 fundamentals of flow, the third of which I've forgotten the most about, which is why we ended up in the pickle brine that we've been in for the last 3 weeks, and a lot of you have helped us get out of the hole. The first fundamental of Dr. Flow is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're always going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life, no matter what, no matter who. You can do a lot with just that first principle. The second principle of flow is that you have everything in your toolkit right now to make a magical coexistence for yourself with the universe, always expanding. The third fundamental of flow is that you got to see it for yourself. You got to believe in yourself and your ability to connect and bridge your way into every dream and desire you have. If you do not believe in your ability to make the intangible tangible, you're going to have this internal battle with yourself that is part of one of Dr. Flo's biggest pet peeves, which is
preventable
bullshit. You're going to have a lot of preventable bullshit in your life based on the sole fact that you refuse to believe that you can do all things with healthy self-love for yourself. And as Tara and I were talking about before today's podcast taping, a belief in yourself and a belief that others want to believe in you. Mission critical to your divine assignment wherever you sit in your longitude and latitude. So I'm an online coach and mentor. I am a champion for people who have dreams. I'm a champion for people who want to express themselves. And I'm a champion for people who want to go deeper into their loved and lovable qualities in order to have the kind of life and lived existence that they want to have. not the one predetermined or prescribed to us by Muggle culture. And trust me, I've been fighting for the last 3 weeks to try to become a Muggle, to become a person that puts their magic on the shelf, to just make the money and to stabilize things. That's very important. But let's not forget our magic. And one of the most magical beings that I've found on planet Earth in my lifetime is this multi-passionate biracial sitting to, I guess you all would see it as my left on your screen. This is Tara Priolo, based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and she's going to tell you about who she is and a little bit about how we got to taping the show for the last few years to deconstruct our ideas in public.
Hello, y'all. I'm Tara. I am your resident Black biracial multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish. Oh, that's the old one. Hold on. I make the intangible tangible by releasing your entanglements. Yeah, that's what I do. It's very hoity-toity. Just follow along and you'll get it eventually as I figure out how to describe it. Yeah, Deconstruction Junction started. I love to do master classes, y'all. It's really something that I quite enjoy doing, and I have kind of stopped doing them because there's been a lot happening in the world, and I was tired. And first trimester of pregnancy is very fatigued. Tara is tired all the time in the first trimester. But now I'm in the second trimester, so I have a little more energy. But anyway, Deconstruction Junction was a part of a masterclass series that essentially we were teaching every week, Dr. Flo and I. And we had different topics, but it ended up that every single topic ended in the same spot, right? Because all of life is connected. Everything that's happening in Minnesota and Minneapolis is connected to everything that's happening in Iran, which is connected to everything that's happening in Venezuela, which is connected to everything happening in Nigeria, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on, because we are all connected. And so we decided that we would simply do Deconstruction Junction every single week. Some weeks are heavily in the political bag. Some weeks are heavily in the I just remembered, I don't think I changed out the ceasefire now one, but that's okay. We're going to talk the whole thing about ceasefire now. But some weeks are more about the world events. Some weeks are more about like inspirational or motivational things or things that we agree with. It just kind of depends on the week. And it depends on the week how long they are. So we have successfully kind of gotten it around an hour most of the time. However, last week was about 2 hours. So we just kind of see where we lead to. Yeah, I think that's a good explanation. If you are a person out there that wants to deconstruct with us, you've got things to talk about, you got your life story, whatever, we would be happy to have you as a co-host on the podcast, as a guest host. So if you're interested in that, go to lovedandlovable.bio.link, 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 and shoot us a message, and we will do the vetting process and get you on the pod to talk about what you want to talk about.
We would love to share joy with all of you all. Joy is the revolution for us, and we invite you to step in. It's warm in here. It is definitely spicy. We hold each other accountable to our thoughts and our dreams in very interesting ways behind the scenes. I have been waterboarded no less than 20 times this week, because just this week alone, because you want people in your life, though, truly. You want people in your life who won't let you play small.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why? We'll talk about it a little bit, but why would you make $5 an hour when you're capable of making $150
and more?
And more. and more.
Remember
So,
Amazing Grace.
oh my gosh, the $5,000 20 minutes for just calling on the spirit of the ancestors.
Only God can do it.
Only God can to venerate Brother George. So we're going to continue to believe in ourselves and see it for ourselves. That's the third principle, and to share with incredible, heartfelt vulnerability exactly what we are going through and what we are feeling and how things are landing on us. I talked about this in last week's social push out of the network and out of my private life. We're all making choices about how much we want to expose of ourselves and share of our lives with the world and with those in our network. As Brene Brown would say, we don't owe anyone our story. We don't owe anyone access to knowing what our fears are. We don't owe anybody access to our bank accounts. And I think we went down on Facebook for some reason. 1 second. So the fact that we continue to show up and offer our truths is us wanting to share what's possible for a human that believes in himself on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, starts to question on Thursday and Friday, and then returns to opportunity on Saturday and Sunday. And I've always said that the work that we do here in the network is not for perfect people. The work that we seek to do here is to encourage, equip, and empower the open thinking, which we'll do a lot today of people who want to use their time, talent, and treasure for expansive joy on the planet. And let it begin with me. Let the honesty begin with me. Let the openness begin with me. Let the willingness begin with me. Let the availability to my dreams and the sharing of these spaces with folks like Tara, let it start with me. Let me be the shining example of what it means for your knees to knock. Even though you got all of the empirical evidence and the resumes to write your own ticket and to knock the doors in, let me be an example of what it means to get knocked down 90 times, but get up 91. And so that's the reason why we come out here weekly and talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. And it's the reason why I'm on social media saying, yo, thank you so much for keeping me from the cold of my thoughts and the physical cold outside, because life has not been easy for any of us. And yet community, and once again, that honest, open, willing, and available community is a place where we can belong to ourselves and also to each other. Very grateful. Especially as men in mask are domestically terrorizing not only the streets of locations all over the country, but the havoc that they are rendering in the energetic space and in the mental space, in the psychological space of people, that's escalating too, and it's creating a fear energy that I hope we get to talk about today. But this is Tara's slide, so I'll let her introduce where we go from here.
Tootly. So, as Flo stated, I am in Minneapolis, which means I am literally in the epicenter of the national attention of ICE. There are approximately 3,000 ICE agents in Minnesota currently, the majority of them in the Twin Cities. There has been a heavy ICE presence around where I live. In fact, as Dr. Flo was speaking, I was looking at my phone because one of the signal chats is talking about ICE being present at a dismissal in an elementary school right now. So there are, we talked last week about Renee Good, rest in peace. And right before we got on this podcast, actually, the news released another bit of information about basically how ICE ensured that she was dead by not rendering any kind of medical aid to her and refusing to allow anybody in for 15 minutes. And actually, when responders got there, she had an irregular heartbeat, so she was still alive. But beyond the point of being able to be saved. We don't know that she would have been saved before, but what we do know is the soonest that you can get to people, the more likely they are to be saved. So in the last week, and there's a couple of slides here that I'll read, they're just threads. Like I said, there's 3,000 here. There were only 2,400 last week or so. And so Kristi Noem has sent more. Trump has threatened the Insurrection Act as of yesterday. And then today he has threatened martial law. He has threatened to send in the actual military here, like on its own citizens. Which people seem to think that that's not going to happen. Like, even if he were to do it, like the military would be like, nah, I'm not so sure about that, but like remains to be seen. ICE also shot another person on Wednesday evening, but they did not die. They were shot in the leg. A story from last week of 4 Indigenous unhoused people that were taken by ICE. They have been found, but they are at Fort Snelling, a location that is known to be basically a concentration camp for Native American people. And there's some other viral videos that have gone around that I can, if you guys put it in the comments, I can answer some of that because I've been pretty much on the pulse of it. But what we have seen in addition to ICE escalating and their brutality is MPD, Minneapolis Police Department, exiting the picture. We've seen our politicians here basically be like, you're on your own, have fun, but be peaceful. We've had just one of our politicians here capitulated and is supporting ICE. Like there's just been lots of things. I think it was 2 days ago, I woke up to a report just down the street from me at a bus stop that ICE had taken a parent and they had loaded the child onto the bus to go to school. I don't know what happened to that parent. But I know that the kid is being protected by neighbors, and essentially neighborhoods are stepping up and ensuring that our kids are safe, or trying to keep them as safe as we can in this mess of a time. So let's move through the slides. That's where we're kind of at. And also, I should say, if you are interested like in knowing the like actual day today here, I am doing at least once a day updates on my Instagram, as well as TikTok, Facebook, all of my public platforms that I can. Instagram, I am going to be creating a backup today once I get off of here, and I'm going to be creating a space on WhatsApp in my WhatsApp community that I'll talk about at the end of the podcast, simply because Instagram is really, she is trying to end my account. She's really making it very difficult for me to upload things. I'm having to go through third-party apps every time, and even sometimes that's failing. So I like, if you want the information, I am getting the information. I am in the right places. I am holding it. I appreciate all of you who have stepped up and asked me if I'm okay and given me the support that I need to carry through this as a pregnant person with a toddler and a husband that works with Latinx people. And I have friends who are DACA recipients. I have friends who are Latino. My neighbors are Latino, both over here and down the street a little ways. So it's a very tense moment in a lot of ways for a lot of people. So let's make this big so the people can see it. We have this is from 2 days ago. This is, again, I'm just kind of like giving you all bits and pieces of what's happening here. Breaking: a federal judge has ruled the ICE surge and operations in Minnesota can continue as the state and cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul sue to try and put an end to it. However, the judge is demanding federal authorities respond to the lawsuit by January 19th. So essentially, our Attorney General Keith Ellison, who was monumental, by the way, in the prosecution of Derek Chauvin, who killed George Floyd. He put together an 80-page lawsuit and has now actually put up a form that people can fill out so that we can report even more terrorism by ICE to try and convince the courts to get them out, right? So Keith Ellison seems to be using everything at his disposal to try to get these people out of here. But the court said it's okay for now. And so that just remains. And then the reclaimed, this was 18 hours ago, and relates to the second shooting that I was talking about. ICE tear gassed a car full of children. A 6-month-old baby had to be hospitalized, and actually 2 of those children had to be hospitalized. There is a viral video going around of the dad realizing that the 6-month-old is not breathing. The mom had to offer mouth to mouth to get that child to breathe, and I think the child is still alive, but still in the hospital. They are indiscriminately tear gassing, as well as using another kind of gas that is forbidden in international court. And actually, I heard yesterday that an international court has put a probe out for the killing of Renee Good because they do not trust the U.S. Federal system to investigate it. And the federal system here has blocked out the Minnesota system. So the state can't prosecute it because they don't have all the evidence, and they don't have any jurisdiction over federal employees. So that's what's happening there. And then there's one more slide, I think. Mayhaps. Yeah. So this was 15 hours ago. The dad chats. He's one of my favorite lawyers on TikTok, and he's very Minnesotan, and I really do enjoy watching him. It says, as of today, the Whipple building, which if you've been following this, you know what the Whipple building is. It's basically, it continues, so I'll just read it. Whipple Federal Building, ground zero for detentions in Minnesota, is denying non-citizens the right to an attorney. To be clear, this is as unconstitutional as it sounds. This right, like virtually every right in the Constitution and protected by the Supreme Court precedent, is guaranteed to non-citizens just as much as it is for citizens. There is no dispute. There is no argument. It's constitutional basics. Minnesota is at a 4-alarm fire. We are underreacting. So the Whipple building over the last, I would say, 5 days has had continuous protests outside, people trying to find people inside, numerous citizens detained. We don't really know what's happening to non-citizens. One of the people that was in one of the viral videos, we found out they were alive, thank God. But they're in a detention center in El Paso, so they're just like removing people and sending them places. I heard today that in a different state, I don't remember what state, but there is a person who was killed in ICE custody. Lots of reports of that person being choked out, sent to the hospital, and died from his injuries from ICE. So like, it's not just Minnesota. Minnesota is just ground zero right now. So that's kind of my ground report for the day on this.
It is it is bizarre to me that while these monks are walking for peace, And while society claims to have so many peacekeepers in it and people who want peace and love, that just like over many years prior to this, it's very eerily quiet as it relates to the people who are supposed to be champions of love in society. I'm not sure if it's because people are tired. I'm not sure if they're being thrown out into the streets like I have been over the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure like what's going on, but none of this is okay. And
None
I'm
of it.
with the gentleman. Like, we are extremely underreacting. I read something online earlier in the week where it's like 1/3 of the populace is oblivious that it's happening. Another third wants it to happen. And another third is trying to combat it. And it's becoming very overwhelming. Folks are whispering about it. As I was out seeking bridge funds and backup employment this week, people are whispering about it, but in very interesting ways. Like, there are many people who still believe that trying to better your life by wanting to be happy, healthy, and free, where your feet stand, is a problem. There's a lot of people, such as the situation that I just left, where the happiness is what's actually being begrudged. Like the fact that they're taking people out of their jobs and that these immigrant run businesses are being shuttered. Like, that's going to ripple for a long time into the finances and the financial stability for many generations of those particular families. And the fact that there are people who rejoice that multiple generations of a group of people is going to be destroyed because of just wanting to be needlessly hateful, it's a problem. And it's history repeating. Throughout many generations, there's been a group of people who wanted to live and let live for the ascension of everybody because there's only abundance. And then there's been a group of people who really get a kick out of taking the food out of the mouths of people and cutting off people's ability to earn an income to support other humans who have basic needs for food, clothing, and shelter. We have a heart condition problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just alluded to it. Poppy's mom really did not like seeing me in my freedom and in my joy. His family did not like seeing me in my freedom and in my joy. Um, they didn't believe that we all should have an opportunity to make money in our own way and to craft for ourselves a version of life that causes us to rise while also earning. And I came here, as you all know, to continue the work of Love and Action Network and to build my academy. And I was received as an imposter.
Imposter.
And y'all know me, I no longer teach or believe in imposter syndrome. I don't believe in such a thing as imposter syndrome anymore. I used to talk about it all the time. I used to believe that I was. You cannot be surviving daily what we are surviving and be an imposter. You can't open your eyes as we open our eyes every day and chase dreams and survive in the ways we are surviving every day, moment by moment, including this moment, and consider yourself an imposter. You may be challenged in your belief of yourself. You may be challenged in the belief of your I can. You may not believe, as Principle 2 says, that you have all the tools in your toolbox right now to get it done. But you certainly are, and you're no imposter as it relates to being human. You're breathing, hopefully unassisted today. And if you're breathing unassisted and living in a way to where you can still hear your dreams beckoning to you, you can hear more in the distance. There was something that happened to me in the last week where even in my darkest ideations, I could feel that this particular part of my coexistence with all the things that are going on, like, this isn't how my story ends. I may be on the verge of houselessness. I may not feel as capable as I have felt about doing more and becoming more, but something inside of me tells me that this is not the end of the road for me. Have you ever had that feeling where you were like, damn, this is really, really tough, but I feel like there's more to this than what my eyes can see?
Yeah, I mean, I had this sensation. I think the sensation that you're talking about. During, I gotta grab a charger, y'all. The computer's gonna die.
Yeah, mine almost bit it about 10 minutes ago. I looked up. I was like, "Oh, that's a little sliver of battery. That's not
That's a little
gonna."
close. Um, I had it. I think I had it during the George Floyd uprisings, and I have it now, right? Like I told Flo one day this week that I know it's crass, but like, or maybe an inappropriate time to say it, but like, this moment is a moment that a person like me knows that there is so much beyond, and only I, by sharing about what is beyond in my mind, can get us to the beyond, right? Can get us to the new world, can help us process what's happening, can get us connected enough that we can feel safe, right? In a world where we are increasingly being forced apart, right? I talked about this in a post last night. Like, when I'm at rehearsal, I'm in the ensemble, we move as a unit. We don't go anywhere by ourselves. We help each other to our cars. We make sure everybody's safe. But then the minute that you are in your car, you're separated, right? And it can feel really alone, right? It can feel really alone sitting in my house with just my kiddo and hoping that everything's okay. But I've mitigated that by being in signal chats. And Dr. Flo asked me on Monday, he said, "What does it look like for you to start a space, right? Or to have a space?" It's going to be my WhatsApp community for now. And like, I do know that there's more, right? I do know that, like, even in the music realm, there's more than what I'm currently doing for blackening the canon, more than what I'm currently doing for like being in a world premiere of an opera, um, where I will be the first person to sing like one of the most pivotal lines in the entire show, right? Um, yeah, yeah. So I've definitely I've been there. It's usually in, like you're saying, like usually in moments of intense trauma or intense tragedy, that it's like, oh no, I know how to be calm. I know how to raise awareness. I know how to raise money. I know how to raise, I know how to get people together. I know how to connect people. I know how to use the tech. I know how to do all of these things. And so therefore I can, like, I must continue, right? So yeah, that's what I would say about that.
Our ancestors did it.
Right. Without cell phones.
Speaking of which, I just tried to send you over a signal, and it's not coming through.
Here, I'll send you my link. I'll send you my link. Hold on.
Something
Because I had this all set up, y'all, because I've been moving people all week, like the Underground Railroad. I would have been a great conductor on the Underground Railroad. I'm just saying. I've been connecting people all week from Facebook to Signal, from text to Signal, like getting them in the right groups, right city, right place. Like, make me an admin, folks, because I got you.
It's good stuff. Very good
I'm
stuff.
sending my link on WhatsApp. Okay, so y'all know, like, I'm living this, right? And that's something that one of my other coaches, Fiona, like keeps reminding me. Like, she's like, you are in it. Like, you are literally living in the city of the thing. Like, you get to do what you feel like you need to do. And that is enough, right? So yeah, that's that. Here's the signal link. There you go. That's me. So more ice updates. I believe I have a video next on the Tickety Talk. And while that's playing, I'm going to go get the child. But this is real life in Minnesota.
ICE is over here on Texas Avenue, breaking in someone's window of their car outside of their house in my neighborhood, dragging him out of the car. There is no warrant. St. Louis Park, Minnesota. ICE is over here on Texas Avenue, breaking in someone's window of their car outside of their house in my neighborhood, dragging him out of the car. There is no warrant. St. Louis Park, Minnesota. ICE is over here on Texas Avenue, breaking in.
I think it's wild that they are allowed to be masked. I'm going to take the personal privilege in the midst of this podcast taping, y'all, and to ask the internet, how's okay that ICE wears mask? It says that agents wear masks for protection from doxing and threats, safeguarding their families, while critics argue that it enables abuse, hides accountability, and creates fear, comparing it to authoritarian tactics with no official policy, strong debate over safety versus transparency in immigration enforcement. I think it's strange that they mask. I think that it's odd that if what they were doing were legitimate, they should have no issue doing it in plain sight. It is the obfuscation and the lack of transparency that makes this very ominous and weird to me. It's like, I don't wear a mask in public because I'm not doing anything that I couldn't be recorded doing in public. To me, them wearing masks doing these actions is a self-incriminating behavior. What say you?
I mean, I think it is a terror tactic, right? Like you said. I think it is an attempt to squash opposition, because if you can't identify the person, then, you know, it's less likely that they're held accountable. I think that it, you know, it leads back to this like very primal fear of the unknown, right? It's the reason why like we don't like to go out in forests, right? Like in the middle of the night, like not many people are like, yo, let me go out in a forest in the dead of night at midnight. We're just like, cool. You know, like we're like, we'll stay home. And so I do like, I think that's, it's just a terror tactic. And I also think in a way it is a control mechanism of the people wearing the masks, right? It is a way to enforce, you know, it's like a uniform. Like it's like it's a way to enforce power. It's like you may not be a part of this group unless you do this thing. Like oftentimes gangs, right? Like there's an initiation ritual, and this is the same thing, right? Like if like, and they say it, comply or die, right? What happens if you go into an ICE interview, you refuse to wear a mask? What do they do? You know? And so it's another element of the complying on their part, on the part of people trying to be a part of ICE. Also, Piper says hi, Uncle Flo. You're getting
Hello. Hello, sunshine. You're so loved and lovable.
so loved and lovable.
The fact that you put them into the same category as gang, because they are doing thuggish gang like behaviors, is a very interesting point. I want to talk about freedom. What does freedom mean to you today, Tara?
Freedom means being able to post what I want, to say what I want, to feel joy, to feel hope, to feel love, to dream, right? Like to vision, to have the belief of that collective imagination exists, to have beliefs, right? I mean, all of this, and it all like rotates around choice too. I think choice is another synonym for freedom, that we have the ability to choose whether Piper's trying to plug in a microphone thing, but I don't have a microphone. So if you lose audio, y'all just be patient. We are learning computer tech at 20 months old. So anyway, we're trying to get the computer. It's not going to fit over there, darling. But anyway, that is what I would say about freedom. For me, it's not about being able to like go a ton of different places or like, yay, good job, high five, nice work. It's just about the freedom, the ability to be me, to be all the parts of me, to be whole in every space that I enter. What is freedom for you?
Not being fucked with on the way to my dreams. Freedom is a lack of entanglement and encumbrance on the way to what I'm doing. I brought this behind the ICE slide because you see them disrupting people trying to figure out their own brand of human happiness. And I don't like that. I have a problem with the person who tries to stand in between me and my joy receiving and my joy bringing. Freedom for me is not having anything or anyone in the way of me being able to receive joy into my life or to give it. And I think that we're at a tipping point because there's a group of people who want to tell people what to do and force them to comply into their version of the truth. When the fact is that we all have individualized versions of the truth and what would make us happy. But we see who these people are historically. We also see resistance historically. And you were talking earlier in conversations before the taping about your concerns for tomorrow. Could you name those concerns in the proximity space of freedom?
Yeah, so one thing that I haven't talked about because it's not ICE. Tomorrow there is an anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim rally being planned here. The advice going around is for anyone basically to stay out of Piper, don't do that, to stay out of that part of Minneapolis tomorrow. Like, just stay home. These are obviously going to be people, groups like the Proud Boys, like the Oath Keepers, like the KKK. These are people that are wanting to instill fear. There's already been an article about how it's going to increase anti-Somali sentiment here in Minnesota, which is already, rampant. And obviously, like, Islamophobia is very prevalent, particularly ever since October 7th, 2023. And, I have seen whispers of counter protests. And I kind of hope that the counter protests don't happen because while ICE, Piper, please stop. While ICE is scary and meant to terrorize, they cannot be everywhere. There are only so many of them. Even if we count in the US military, which is, the most funded military in the world, there are still more civilians than there are military, law enforcement, immigration enforcement combined. Right? And because of that, what is scarier to me is people groups warring, because that is what it will turn into, right? And this vigilante justice thing that we got going on both sides, on all the sides, folks. It ain't just the red people. It ain't just the blue people. It's everybody. Everybody got this vigilante justice thing happening. And it's not going to end prettily if that is what happens tomorrow. And I personally, I want to relate this to freedom in that like I said, I believe that freedom is my wholeness. And the way that I bring other people to freedom and into their own liberation is by embodying my freedom. Right? And so, like, I don't need to go stand in a field and scream at somebody to get into their freedom.
Because
Or to be
words don't
controlled
teach.
into their freedom. Go
Because
ahead.
words don't teach. Words don't teach.
Right. Actions teach. And so, like, if I am to be in my freedom, even though that also means I can say what I want, it means that I am embodying my freedom enough that it is attractive enough of a racist dickwad piece of trash that will go to that protest tomorrow to come over and get themselves free from the control of their brain. Because that's all racism is. It is a control of your brain that has been taught to you since you were very, very small. That's it. That is something that's reversible. Just like ICE. ICE is only a 22-year-old organization. It can be replaced. Credit scores can be replaced. Money can be replaced, right? But only if we choose to embody those things. That's the attractiveness. Not the reason why people oppose oppression, right? Is because you cannot be forced into being free. You cannot be controlled into being free. So the opposition of it, right? The true opposition. This is what MLK, y'all, it's MLK weekend, and I know y'all white people are just dying to bring out his quote about nonviolence. I know it. I see you, and I'm gonna need you to just put it back in your pocket and pick a new one. Okay, I see you. All right, just that quote.
I see him too.
Put it away. Put it away until next year. Okay, just put it away. But that was Martin Luther King's point. It was even Malcolm X's point, right? And something that Poppy and Flo often say is that the only thing that they're going to fight for is their peace, right? But how do you fight for peace? You embody your peace, right? I mean, that's it. Like, for me, it's not about, like, yes, I would absolutely die on my feet before they put me on my knees. Like, you going listen, ICE, y'all, I know, okay, Instagram is clearly watching me. Meta is clearly on my butt. Okay. Y'all can come for me. Just know you're going to have to kill me. You're going to have to make me into another martyr, like George and like Renee, you know? And I can say that while embody, like, even in my death, I can embody my freedom.
Woo. Some of us are willing, though, to die on our feet. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think about the people who stood back as Renee bled out. Everybody, including myself, would not have made that choice either. Like, these men in masks are in the wrong. So you're not going to stop me from assisting my comrade. But a lot of people are in that analysis paralysis and in that fear paralysis where it's kind of like they have guns. I don't want to die today, so I'm going to let them be the bullies with the guns. You know, I'm not sure that much could have stopped me from assisting Renee. So what say you about the people who are blowing the whistles but not intervening.
So here's the deal. I hear you. I hear you, because I would be a person. I think I would be a person. I ain't never been there in that moment, right? I was not at Renee Good's death. Okay. But like, I would like to think that I'm a person that would fight through, right? And I'm little.
Well, I have de-arrested humans from the NYPD in the streets of New York. Like,
Right.
You're not taking that person today. We'll take them back, thank you, and you'll have to find someone else to pick on. That's a particular kind of, we should talk about in social justice circles a lot, putting your actual body on the line.
Right.
I see people out blowing the whistles. I don't see them truly in the die on your feet energy. I saw the guy saying, I am a physician. I want to assist. I want to assist. I want to assist, but not rushing to assist.
I mean, I think so. I think two things. I think that it's okay that everyone is not willing to put their body on the line. It'd be a really boring world if everybody was the same, right? I also think that in that moment, there's a self-preservation thing. You just watched this dude shoot a woman in broad daylight 4 times, right? And I think that factors in. You know, that's different than de-arresting. Like, yeah, there's guns, but have they used them yet? Right? We saw this with George Floyd. They were kneeling on his neck for 9 minutes and ain't nobody tried to push him off. There were a bunch of people standing around, watch him get strangled, right? And so like this is the prevailing, I mean, and it's trained. Like this is the thing that like why people get so mad at me when I say like leave your peace at home. We don't need to be peaceful in the face of harm. We don't need to be peaceful in the face of terrorism. And people are like, Tara, you're advocating for violence. What the hell is the solution? La, 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 la. That's the binary that you're creating, that there's only peace and violence. And it can only be one of those two things. There's a lot of middle ground there, right? But B, they have been working, right? The federal government, the powers that be, white supremacy, colonialism, all of these things have been working for ages on creating a docile, controllable populace, right? And there's only those of us that have chosen to escape the Matrix because we're like, yo, the Matrix is still killing people, bro. Right? Morpheus, the Matrix is still killing people. We got to do something about that. But the majority of people, like you said, there's a third of people that don't even know that Minnesota is literally under siege. Right? Like, that's crazy. But that's trained. That's trained.
Well, we're watching. We're watching. And we're wanting to aid in all the ways that we can.
Right. So this is just, there's a lot of other ways, but if you all are interested in this link, this is a Google Sheets link of a bunch of different places, mutual aid, people that need mutual aid. And so if you want this link, just let me know. I'm hopefully going to be updating my link tree yet today. I've got a lot of work to do. Just having these links. So this is one way. There's a bunch of mutual aid places. You can probably literally look it up in Google and say mutual aid Minnesota. And there'll be a bunch of places that come up. If you are willing, even if you are out of state, to there are a couple lists floating around out there of restaurants that have had to close, either because they don't have enough staff, because their staff is majority Latino, or they are owned by Black and brown people. It would be great if you could purchase a gift card from them to try to keep them going. It'd be cool if they're still open, if you can like DoorDash something to some of your friends to support this. And then I have one more slide with some organizations that you all can go follow and repost, which is MIRAC. I don't remember what these all stand for, but MIRAC, okay, that's immigration resources. And then Unidos, and then Monarca. Monarca is doing a lot of legal observer trainings so that we can get more people on the streets knowing what to do when ICE approaches them, which is also important. Like, we need an organized opposition to this as well. So those are 3 orgs. I've been posting nonstop places, especially in my Instagram stories. So again, if you are interested in that kind of stuff, please follow me there, and I post as much as I see. So that's that. And if you know Minnesotans personally, please check in on them. Please just like shoot them a text. Like, one of my friends who lives in Texas texts me almost daily and says, I'm checking in on you, not Minnesota, you. How are you today? You know, what do you need? And that is always appreciated. So check in on the people as you can.
Well, we arrived to a section that we do every week on the pod. Donna Vivino says, musical theater introverts and rehearsal watching everyone become best friends on day 2. I was planning to speak week 3. Anyone else relate? Are you a person who talks on the first day of rehearsal or in the first week of rehearsal, or do you kind of warm up slowly?
It depends. If it's a group of all new people, I'm definitely an observer. If it's a group of people that I mostly know, I'm going to talk. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty warm to the people who are warm to me. I recognize that everybody pretends to be best friends the first week of rehearsal. Eventually, the real personalities come out later. Always. Justin Claiborne says, I stay away from jerks and mind my business, but I genuinely love humans. Javen Simone says, the world feels weird right now. Spiritually quiet. I agree. I don't see enough prayer.
Let me say this. I sure haven't seen a whole lot from y'all religious people, y'all spiritual people, that were really loud when Charlie Kirk got killed. I haven't seen a lot of you. I haven't seen a lot of that spirituality on the internet lately.
There's not a lot of prayer circles. I don't see a lot of vigil for peace. I don't see a lot of contemplative care. I don't see a lot of soothing spaces. Do you? For like,
I'm in Minnesota, so we have vigils almost every night. We are having, there's a bunch of singing stuff happening on Sunday up here. Singing for Liberation is one, and then there's like a Celtic Junction, Celtic something. I think it's at Celtic Junction. I don't remember what it's called. But anyway, these are spaces you can go sing along, be in community with each other in a time that we need community. So they are happening here. But then at the same time, I see a bunch getting canceled, which I understand, because if you have a bunch of immigrants and people coming to your shows, you don't want to endanger them, you know? So I get it.
Wild. Protect Your Energy says, and y'all know I think this is such a controversial thought, Y'all ever withheld good news so that it remains untouched by negativity? I don't know how I feel about this. I think this is like part of the problem. I think the fact that like we don't share good news and don't share joy makes everybody feel like the world is uninhabitable and a horrible place to be. You know, there are more good people than negative people in the world. There's more exchange happening in the economy of kindness than withholding. I don't think that it's a benefit to not spread the good. I think not spreading the good is
I think it's
why
part
we
of the
have
problem.
a problem.
I mean, yeah, joy is a revolution. And so I say, like, like some people are just going to be offended. People are really offended by me on YouTube right now. I don't know why. I didn't do nothing. But they're offended. I'm still going to share. But it does take, I think, practice to get there. And I think intent matters. And I think our perceptions matter. And I think that's one of the things that, like, in Love and Action Network and over the years, even prior to Love and Action Network, it's been like something that gets kind of formed is or reformed, the want to change the perception, because the perception is, right, I'm going to say something positive and somebody's going to say something negative. But what if everybody just says something positive? Like, what if that was your belief? What if that was your intent? That changes, that energy is cleaner when you go out onto the internet to do that, So that's just a thought that oftentimes the universe answers. And so if you're thinking you're going to get negative comments, the universe is going to answer you with some negative comments. That's all.
Law of attraction's real, and it starts in our mind. Thoughts become things. Have you been following any of this Habababa about the lady who gave her Nobel Peace Prize to
The
Trump?
non-transferable Nobel Peace Prize to Donald Trump? Yeah, I saw it.
What was she motivated by?
She wants to get in good with Trump, and she wants to be the... She wants to be the president of Venezuela. She's the opposition to Maduro. You okay? And so one of the ways she thinks she's going to get that is by working with Trump. But Trump doesn't actually take her seriously, so it ain't going to do nothing. But that's that story. Are you okay?
Have you heard any of the new Jill Scott?
Mm-mm.
I'm excited. She's a poet, and she's raunchy, and she's in your face. Someone said on Threads earlier today that she writes, and I quote, big areola music.
Oh, Lord.
Are you familiar with any of her music? Like, she's very heavy into the sensuality, and I've loved her for the last 20 years.
I think I've listened to bits and pieces. I'm not sure I've ever, like, listened. You know what I mean?
I enjoy her a lot.
This is a slide I didn't change out from last week, but ceasefire now. Stop, Piper. In our hearts and our minds, and the world over, including in Minnesota, Venezuela, Greenland. Where else is popping right now? Iran, stop it. You have plenty. All the places.
Baby Panda, do you think we'll ever have true peace in our lives, or will we always have to defend
Not
it.
when we have a third of people wanting to stick their heads in the sand all the time because they think it's easier. No,
Yeah.
you have some right here.
Which they learned from their parents and their parents' parents. It's all a deep conditioning,
Right.
and brainwashing.
Right.
Well, where we are not brainwashing people is in our programs here in Love and Action Network. We've got the Adopt a Black Artist program for people who need more support, maybe with how you identify in the world and the challenges that come along with that. Maybe you are scared of vulnerably sharing your truth through your art and through your profession with the world. We would love to take you under our wing and just give you an attaboy and some resources to help you grow. Daily peer support is still happening in the WhatsApp channels and also by request, those who want to gather. Fortune of time, talent, and treasure favors the bold. So if you're boldly wanting to gather in community and be uplifted, if you're not too busy, daily peer support is happening in our WhatsApp groups. And also we are continuing to offer our admin and admin support services to those who need help. I turned one of Poppy Waters' colleagues' resume into 10 distinct resumes this week because she had so much experience and varied expertise that she was overwhelming hiring partners in the places that she was applying for, because she had a lot of things going for herself. And so I took those 3 pages of information and turned them into 10 industry specific resumes for her. If that's something that you're interested in having done for you, so that you can be specific in the reclamation of your dreams, let us know. Also continuing to staff and bring people into harmony for Dr. Flo and the Love Experience. We'd love to hear from people who want to break free of the paradigms of musical theater and performance as we know it, and those of you who want to be part of something bigger than who we are on the planet and combine our magical energy with that of the universe, celebrating the power of love through music, theater, and art. Would love to hear from you through our websites. There's me in the future. And Tara, you talked earlier about being able to hold in your mind and in your heart the type of world you want to live in, and it made me think of your new album. Would love to hear how that's coming and also your other projects.
Well, honestly, I have not checked the Bandcamp since last week. But I will go look at it now. I think we're still at the same amount. Everything changed course because of the things happening here. And I've shared a little bit more, but not a ton of bit more about it. So, and it will be here forever. But I do have a new album called I Dream a World. It's got 10 songs on it. I'm trying to figure out, Bandcamp is like sometimes very funny on how it operates, because you can't, like, if you have anyway, it has 50 plays, which is up from, I think, what it was last week. We're still at $45, which is great. And so, yeah, so I Dream a World, you can go listen at tarapriolo.com. Nope, tarapriolo.bandcamp.com. You can also listen to my other album, Soliloquy. I believe that a new world is coming. One of the things that I actually believe that the new world exists right now, if we choose to see it, right? And that is the biggest battle of our lifetimes as healers, light workers, that type of service providers, is that the new world is here. It's just helping people to see it. one of the things that was most impactful this week that I haven't really, I did talk about it on a morning app, but I haven't connected it to the album. Christina, Miss Xtina B on TikTok and Instagram, she had this video where she was talking about how we must process what we're living through right now because it can't come with us into the new world. Like the pain can't come with us into the new world. And we have to heal. And that was really, yeah, I dream a world where joy is unmarred, where joy is gets to be abundant at all times, right? So that's I Dream a World. It's also got some music on there that was written for in memory of George Floyd. It has a couple spirituals. Yeah, and then it has a love, let the wind cry on the dark mountains, which is just a lovely kind of love song. So there is also TPS Community Commons. I am going to be working in the next couple hours to kind of, I don't know, try and figure out how to make that a place to gather, since I am an outspoken person and will always be kind of a person that the algorithms try and thwart, as it were. And then also, My Name is Florence is a world premiere. Y'all will get to listen to it on NPR if you are out of town, but we would also love to have butts in seats for this. So that is the 31st, the 5th, the 7th, the 8th. It is a really important story. It is woman-centric. There are 3 soprano leads. Like, it is so cool. And I cannot wait for it to be published so I can sing one of the arias and put it in my audition package, because wowza. I'm very excited for that. So yeah, that's what I got. I think I talked about the rest throughout this. You're asking Piper to play more?
I was wanting more, but like I was
Piper, can you play a song? That's what you got.
I got notes too after it. How I did. Your I Dream of World explanation today and introduction to people who are tuning in reminded me of how we talk often about quantum theory. How everything that could exist is happening at the same time. And we're simply reaching into that experience and pulling out the things that we want to co-create with the universe. And so when we say we dream a world, it's something that we're going to have to reach in and extract by the power of our attention. Because if you pay attention to peace, you get more peace. If you pay attention to love, you get more love. If you pay attention to joy, you get more joy. It truly is the wolf you feed. I think that was my closing thought. What are yours?
Be safe, abolish ICE, make good trouble, do good work. I love y'all hardcore. And joy is our revolution.
Joy. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you very, very soon. Stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable.